Under a bright blue sky with the scent of sea salt in the air, a monument to humanity's worst tendencies rots. Hubris, cruelty, using lead in paint, at last sentenced to death beneath the sun's radiant judgment. As decades turn to centuries, life infests the bloated corpse of the corroded facility. What was it used for? Hubris? Probably. Cruelty? Definitely. Did they use lead in the paint? Don't lick the walls. Tetanus is a vanilla-compatible episode for Doom 2 centered around clean, easily readable level design with visuals inspired by orange box designs from various Source Engine games, as well as Super Mario Odyssey's Steam Gardens. This is the description for Tetanus, a 2023 WAD courtesy of those clever buggers at Squonker Team. I've UV-maxed the WAD in the WOOF source port, as well as other investigations in GZ, Doom, and DSDA. Enough yakety yak, let's get our shots and dive in. Ouch! Map 1, Infiltrate by Eggboy. As demanded by a screaming audience and by his own admission, his bulging ego, any Squonker joint is required by law to commence with an Eggboy amuse-bouche. And we can thank our lucky stars that this is enshrined in the Squonk Constitution because what an opener. First off, the visuals. I stood stunned, a ball of childlike excitement growing in my stomach, like when you're driving to the beach as a kid and you can't see the water just yet, but you know as the sand dunes are whipping by that a fucking good time is about to be had. How simple and how effective it is to be graced by a blue sky in Doom, contrasting gloriously with the orange structures and garnished by the pops of greenery to add a fresh sense of life to the situation. The MIDI Scratch and Sniff by ZEMYSTIC adds an extra level of fun as we're kicked into the action. But don't be mistaken in thinking you'll be eased into Tetanus. I minced my way through 3/4 of the map and then got held down and violently violated by an Archie and his bony bros. Was not expecting that, and the challenge was a refreshing slap to the nads. A surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. Best bit, that fucking tasty bridge at the end with the giant tetanus sign above the foreboding portal. It has a real theme park feel to it that fills me with joy and gives me strong Bioshock vibes. And there are few things in the world that inspire me as much as Bioshock. My juices were fully flowing, I wanted revenge for that eviscerating vile violation, and the summery feel of the visuals filled me with an inner fire. 5 Eggboys out of 5. Also, I see you there, BFG, and I see you hiding. We'll get back to him. Map 2, Rush by ZEMYSTIC. ZEMYSTIC, past conjurer of Squonker Map's Concrete Swan Dive, Impose, Ensnare, and Wisteria, magics up a Map 2 that holds up its hands shouting, hey, come on, pump the brakes a sec, let's chill out. After a rough probing received in Map 1, the abundance of joyful energy and impish playfulness in this level is most welcome. Eggboy's MIDI adds an extra level of zip to this already saucy map. Our old buddy Z is kind enough to pen in a frustrated Archie, loser, and take us on a bucking fairground ride as the level changes its topography and reinvents itself. I always love it when a map has elements of this. Previously flat areas are now walkways, and you have a whole new vantage point from which to smite demons inside the appropriately named Rusty Condom. Ooh, itchy. Best bit, definitely the fight in the sunken subterranean arena. The monsters aren't on ambush, so you can try and tease them out with a bit of an air punch, or more enjoyably, take the fight right to them. Once the alien is snapped in two, it's plain sailing. Big gold star to Z for having a handy slot from which to drop when you've pocketed the red key. Sleek man, real sleek. Map 3, Rust by MYOLDEN. In his debut Squonker map, MYOLDEN comes out swinging, rendering an exceedingly solid, satisfying bit of doomage. The corroded bulk of this orange and green complex hides more than its fair share of demonic dust-ups, one of the cheekiest being the rocket launcher rumble, the exclamation mark flat, hinting that you're not getting that weapon for free. MYOLDEN was firmly wearing his Squonker hat when he magicked up this level. Looking at it in Doom Builder or the auto map, you can see a design philosophy that says, all hail the square, death to the wonky line. There's many reasons for this besides it looking badass and intricate, and I'm not being facetious. I also follow this design philosophy now, or try to, probably from drinking so much Squonker Kool-Aid. Wink. I loved Altars of Madness as well, with its spicy Rubik levels and very sexy textures, and this map just shows how versatile MYOLDEN style can be. Cliff notes: the map is as sick as fuck, looks tasty as hell, and squonks like a goose with a throat infection. MYOLDEN, dude, you've got some serious mapping chops on ya, and now you're part of a very exclusive club. I'm jelly, mate. Proper jelly. The Castlevania MIDI is a lovely touch and really nicely matched. Being as blind as a bat that spends all its time masturbating, I missed the SSG door and only discovered it from the other end, via the blue door after knocking over the rest of the map. I feel that I was at fault in this situation, however, not the map design, so don't sweat it. Best bit, the blue key fight was a nice claustrophobic squeeze with lovely detailing, but definitely the final fight wrenched open my jaw and poured copious amounts of Back to Saturn X down my gullet. I will never complain about this, and I've been missing those vibes for some time, so thanks, fella. The opening up of the room to drown you in furry demons is such a delightful nod towards Get Out of My Station's map. I can't remember. Probably called something awesome like Metal Bird Mustard Mother. Map 4, Asphyxiate by T.WILL. In this level, T.WILL conjures up a Doom waifu with big fat thighs to sit on your face and periodically leap off so you can gasp a breath of air before your vision is obscured by flesh once more. It's a good time. A very good time. A cheeky MIDI care of AD79 adds a further layer of quality. Very tasty. I would normally demand a compulsory diet of lukewarm piss for any individual who would drop you into a tight little passage with a rocket launcher and then throw revs at you. Hell, it's something I would do to someone because I'm a shit, but this is T.WILL, the mind behind one of my favourite Squonker maps, Tozan. I can forgive such a devilish trespass and lob the jug of piss out the window. No wee-wee for you today, good sir. What we have is a twisty-turny warren of deadly corridors sprinkled with a dusting of visual confetti. The vista overlooking the beach dotted with shipping containers is a beautiful diversion before a trap that'll get your bones rattling. You're a cheeky imp, T.WILL? Well, cheeky. Best bit, honourable mention to that seaside segue, but it's gotta be the last fight. This jolly romp is uncompromising, vicious, and that Doom waifu is really giving it her all. It's a tricky pickle, but bitch slap the Archie, spray the spiders, and try not to get popped by the boner barrage. What a finish, and what a map. Gently nudge the waifu to the floor, and go outside for some fresh air. Map 5, Salvage by AD79. He's up to his old tricks again, folks. This blue behemoth from AD is far from tiny, and hey, whatever you know. Well aware of things ballooning in size, AD admits that restraining his creative chops is a fight that is yet to be won, at least in regards to his beautiful Squonker submissions. It's certainly not impossible. Cydonia, for instance, is a great example of intimate map designs from this clever bugger, but different rules, WAD philosophies, and textures breed different maps after all. Snaggled somewhat by the limitations of the Tetanus resources, AD painted the town azure, in a big way. This Viscount of voluminous vistas has firmly removed his coronet and let a woolly mammoth's worth of hair down. So much hair. And such a nifty MIDI too, of course cooked up by AD as well. Let's see, where's the monolith? There's gotta be a monolith here somewhere. Where's my AD79 monolith? I want my money back. 0 stars. Squonker have failed. Oh, there it is. Best WAD of the year. If this doesn't get a Caco award, I'm committing ritual suicide with an egg beater. Joking aside, AD's Tetanus offering is glorious. Of course it's glorious. It's AD fucking 79, that goes without saying, but I can't stop my mouth from ejecting worthy praise for this cool cat. And oh my god, that underwater mechanic is such an inspired idea. I've toyed around with something similar before, but my paltry efforts could never reach the heights produced here. With the radiation suit standing in as your breathing apparatus, you can zip through the Stygian depths like a big daddy on speed. Of course, these need to be rationed out, adding an extra element of stress and thrill. Unless you're on easy, then you can suit up till the cyber cows come home. Jesus, it's so good! One of the most interesting, clever gameplay concepts in Doom I've seen ever. Ever. Best bit, setting aside the sexy, spicy fights, especially the ending climax, I need to doff my cap to the start. Zooming along a beach, following a breadcrumb trail of bonuses to a seemingly empty base? Christ, the visual storytelling alone is outstanding. Time for a cigarette and a cold shower. Map 6, Dehydrate by ZEMYSTIC. After taking a dip in the big blue wet thing, ZEMYSTIC drags us onto dry land by the tits so we can catch our breath for a spell. And dry land it is, exceedingly dry land. The cracked and barren landscape is strangely soothing after the crushing depths of Salvage. Eyes watering in the scorching sun, our old pal Doom Guy towels off in the shadows of a hulking structure and gets to killing baddies. This second outing for ZEMYSTIC is clean, uncomplicated, and to the point, something I'm personally trying to emulate to varying degrees of success, so I was hugely inspired by this map and map 2. Z, you're my go-to dude at the moment for seeing how you fit sections of levels together. Not copying, just trying to understand how to slot disparate ideas into a cohesive whole. It appears effortless, and I'm sure it's not, but there's such a sense of condensed style to intimate maps, as if a huge chungus of a level has been boiled down over a long period until it becomes a powerful, exquisite French sauce. C'est très bien. Best bit, honourable mention to the lovely little pond at the end, hinting at a continuation of the water theme, but the gold medal goes to the wrestling match in the blazing sun to earn the red key. SSG, Archie, Plinths, an exceedingly fresh fight that tests your reflexes while not flexing unnecessarily. Lovely stuff. Also the speed MIDI mixed up by Z, chef kiss. Map 7, Corrode by Yugi Boy 85. It's the first released vanilla outing for Yugi Boy 85, not that you'd know it from the uncompromising quality on show here. You've got an opening shot that I can only describe as sex on toast. You've got a beautiful little overgrown room with the rocket launcher that I can imagine dappled with green light filtered through the ivy. You've also got an alternative key section, which is really neat and does not go easy on you. If you want the reward, you've got to work for it. I really love it when maps have alternate or optional areas like the cool stunt pulled by Egg Boy in the opener for What Remains. It's smart, it's classy, and shows a jolly playfulness that elevates already great maps into the realms of awesomeness. And this is awesome. There's not an obvious difficulty scale being ramped up through the WAD per se, considering Egg Boy's opener, but if there was, and it ran from 1 to 10 in the map set, Corrode would feel perfectly set at 7. It might taketh, but it also giveth, which keeps the level of fun never dipping below a good fucking time. Best bit? I was really jazzed by the optional yellow key area, as I've already stated. It's just such a nice bit of extra grooviness, and it looks tasty as hell to boot. The slap and tickle in the northeast of the map is a yummy scrum as well, so I'm undecided. Why not both? I'm hungry for more, Yugi. The MIDI correlates beautifully, and the fact that it's called Rust Station is fucking hilarious. Nice one, AD. Map 8, Desaturate by Uber. This is Uber's first finished map. Let that sink in. Then play the map. Then cast a pair of highly suspicious eyes in Uber's direction. Uber will give a single honest nod. You will remain skeptical. Uber will give you a more emphatic nod. You will doubt your existence. Swimming in an oppressive void, Desaturate wears its name like a crown. The heavy dressing of grey textures helps this explosive outing stand apart from previous maps in a big way. Great suggestion, AD79, and once again a very saucy MIDI. Give me barrels and hit scanners and I can joyfully blow things up until my emaciated form is discovered bathed in monitor light, floating in a pool of human waste. Big tick right there. Uber is also responsible for various graphic elements, including the status bar, my favourite in a Doom WAD so far, by the way. So there is seemingly no end to the talents on display, and now my level of creative envy is hitting the critical mark. Best bit? The glorious bit of bang bang in the sunken water pit to the southwest of the map. Surrounded by barrels and with screaming skeletons wanting to give you the big bonk, it's dicey, visceral, explosive fun. I don't know how many times I've said fun in this rant so far, but I don't care, because this shit is fun. Fun as fun can get. Also, I really loved the dangling vegetation sprinkled in the same area. Really clever bit of decoration, Uber. Map 9, Circulate by SKRONKIDONK. Skronk serves us up a sprawling playground of tricks, traps, and demonic turkey slaps. The first hurdle to be leapt over involving a twisting corridor choked with barrels and baddies can only mean one thing. When the Archie eventually beams in to repopulate the place, it can be tricky getting a bead on him because he's cloaking himself with lower hellspawn. Brilliant fight, dude. After using your elbows to grab the blue key and snatch a berserk with a tricky lift run, a collection of dank caves await, and I really love this bit. The marriage of natural environments and constructed ones is so masterfully done in this map set, and this area is a glorious example. The lovely secret area from here was a brilliant surprise and carried such a threatening vibe, as if you were about to get cybered, but no, 'tis a gift, nothing more. Apparently Skronk hadn't played BTSX until just recently, and was emulating certain design aspects in this map. I can certainly see it in the architecture from the small to the grand. The somber Final Fantasy MIDI adds a certain heaviness to the map, contrasting nicely with the lightning-fast combat. Bloody marvellous. Best bit, the whole area containing the yellow key fight and final fight. Somehow Skronk must have known it was my birthday the other day, because after kicking the teeth out of a gaggle of pinkies and bursting a whole clutch of cacos, we returned to the same area but on the ground floor, and fucking yes, I get to partake in my favourite activity, blowing up a moving wall of jibbable dickheads with a rocket launcher. I was actually properly jump scared by the bloody spider demon popping up. I was too cautious though, or else I would have run around the corner and woken up the cyber too. Instead, I had to take them out separately like a fool. Map 10, Engorge by Bobby. Engorge. Final map, and I'm so happy to see Bobby back in the Squonker saddle again. The last map of his I played was Pizza Ghetto from Mayan Reynolds, and boy was that a real banger. Bobby's cooked up something pretty dang clever in this map. If you're playing on anything other than easy, you'll be without any shotgun weapons. If you're lucky, a chain gunner may fall off its perch early on, giving you a hit scan weapon other than your pistol, but you're going to be swapping between rockets and plasma for different combat situations. Fucking awesome stuff. I'm a big fan of weapon restrictions, so this really buttered my lemon. The MIDI from Corp is broad and epic, and so beautifully on point tonally. The oppressive press of monsters getting all up in your shit is the main problem you need to deal with. Right off the bat, you've got a pincer of pinkies you need to negotiate your way through and seek shelter. Then you can formulate some sort of plan. Once the initial area is cleared and you have a few weapons, things are fairly direct. Keep moving or you'll be pureed. It's such a clean, unadulterated bit of doomage to let loose with a stack of rockets onto a posse of imps, and then doing yourself a Doom Eternal by swapping to the plasma to stun skeletons and take down some aerial foes. It's not the hardest final map in a set, but it doesn't need to be. What it needs to do is give you a satisfying end to the WAD. And it does that. Boy, does it do that. Bobby's architecture is grand and imposing, lit up gloriously with the supplied textures and radiant sky. If things were all gothic under burning crimson heavens, it would be a somber, weighty affair, and thank God it's not. Even though it took me a minute to get a foothold at the start when I worked out the lay of the land, my heart was singing. Bobby mate, I'm gagging for more of your marvelous creations. Best bit? It's got to be the final fight. Big arena, changing architecture, rockets and plasma, cyber cacos, elementals, archies. The stops have been fully pulled out, and Bobby has provided a banquet table groaning under the weight of one last hearty meal in Tetanus Town before we ride off into the sunset. Conclusion. Where are we? Is this death? Yet another realm to conquer? Oh no, it's just map 1 again, and our BFG. We've come full circle. Tetanus has reached its conclusion, and now so shall I. 10 maps is a lot for me to mentally digest in a short space of time, and it feels like an age since we first skipped through the bright blue waters of Infiltrate. It even feels like a long time since AD held us under the water in Salvage. For a map set not overly swollen with textures, Tetanus has a huge amount of variety stuffed into it, and that's due to the staggering talent of Squonker Team. Pagodia will always be special to me, as it was the first map set of theirs I played, but in terms of visuals, fights, out-of-the-box thinking, and eye-watering creativity, this is my favourite so far. And I say so far because clearly nothing will stop these folks from outdoing themselves each and every time. I wonder what the next project will be. Something medieval? Something painted a lovely shade of Quake brown? Who knows? For that, we must be patient. An impossible task, I know, but one that will be well worth the wait.
Eduardo and Friends.